We have to learn to let go and allow life to happen through us without any judgments, without any preconceived notions, just allowing life to be what it is.
We choose between the left and right, the ups and downs, the darkness or the light. We're finding who we are.
There's only one reform in life. When you and I stop living from our heads, you and I are here for one very solid reason, and that is to learn to be loving.
We're finding our way together, just you and me.
Namaste. Remember the Beatles song, Oh Bla Dee, Oh Bla Dah? We're going to work with life as it goes on in a very unusual place. Come be with us. Are we ready? I'm not ready. Are you ready, Greg? Yes, I'm ready. Are you? No? Are you? Ah! I don't know who I am! Okay, I'm ready. Ow! I feel good. Na, 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 na. What are you doing on Sunday mornings? If Socrates had said that, he would have been a really smart guy. Blasphemer! Would you believe this is a religious program? It's not. Around and around and around we go, and all of our beliefs tell us so. Gotcha. What do you think of Aspire? Let things roll, let things happen, let the gods come down and do your thing. Come on, like that. Ooh, baby. Sock it to me, gotcha, 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 gotcha. English class, English class. That was good. I gotcha. There are many different ways in which we can look at life, and it takes all kinds of people to make life happen the way we know it. This is a strange planet we're on with lots of different kinds of people. People like me and people like you. And you know, we like to think that we're normal or decent or good, but really, we're just people. And it takes all kinds of us to make things happen. People ask absurd questions about life that really are ridiculous. Every question I found out about life has nothing at all to do with what my life is. My life has nothing at all to do with the questions I have. My questions are ridiculous. Life is a bridge to the essence of who and what we really are. This world that we are on is a bridge to that as well. Both of these two things, life and the world, work as a way in which to offer to us the opportunity to be ourselves and to find ourselves. And sometimes we get lost along that way, don't we? I'm reminded of the Beatles songs. I love the Beatles. They're happening. And the song that really gets me is that one on the White Album, Oh Bla Dee, Oh Bla Dah, Life Goes On. Can I sing it, guys? No, there's a vote here that I can't sing. But anyway, it's really a neat song. Oh Bla Dee, Oh Bla Dah, life goes on. No matter what's happening in the world, life goes on. What do I want, guys, from this place?
Rainbow.
I want a rainbow, what? Shaved ice? I understand your rainbow shaved ice is awesome. I want one of those. I like this. We're at Tano's. Great stuff.
You want the rainbow flavor?
I want the rainbow flavor. I hear this is the best. Anyway, you know, there's little touches of life everywhere. And it takes all kinds of people doing all kinds of chores and all kinds of occupations to make things happen. Making shaved ice, having something as wonderful as this, makes a contribution to the world in its own wonderful way. But you know, it doesn't mean that this is anything less than anything else that is going on around here. Police car just drove by. There's lots of stuff happening. Life goes on. Everybody has a purpose and a reason for the things they are doing, even if they're lost.
You Gregory Penn?
Yeah.
From Aspire?
Yeah.
All right. I thought thought I recognized when you started talking about it. It's on me. It's on Thomas.
Hey, thank you. Now I gotta give this back to you. There's my producer. He's a cheap. Thank you.
All right, have a nice
Now you see, when you see me around town, you shop owners, buy me lunch. Oh, this is good. Boy, is that good. Can we just wrap the show and go on to, no, I gotta keep going with this. Life takes on many forms. We're down here at Ocean Beach. This has gotta be one of the most unique forms. Mission Beach. I'm sorry, we're in Mission Beach. And this has gotta be the most unique form of life ever made. You know, the thing about it is that if we look at the way we live our life, we will start judging as to who has a better life. Does the executive downtown who runs a bank have a better life than the person who lives here? Well, if you look at most people and have their opinion about life, this is a comforting thought right here. Get a shot of this. If you begin to look at life from the point of view of how people believe in what is a productive life, what is an unproductive life, you might look at the people down here and say to yourself, these people are not living the life that they are meant to be living. They could be doing better. But what a judgment call that is on us, huh? Who's to say what lives within me is not in every single person? You know, I have a theory about people, and it's this, that the guy who's out there trying to make the big bucks, make the big kill and money, he's got a person inside of him, a homeless person that he's afraid to deal with. So what he's trying to do is to compensate for that homeless person in him by making all the money he can so he won't be homeless. This world is a very, very different place for us. It's kind of frightening to us, overwhelming to most people. Because most people look at their life and they think to themselves, what are we doing here? What is our purpose for being here? Is it to be a big IBM executive? Is it to be a president of the world? President of the United States? Or is it to be down at the beach doing what beach people do, what homeless people do? I relate to this in a funny kind of way because it is my feeling that everybody's learning whatever it is about themselves they need to learn through the experiences they're living right now. And if I take away their experience by devaluing it and saying, well, you could be doing better with your life, you should be improving your life, you don't have to live this life, I'm taking away the value of the person's own life experience, and believe it or not, mine. I don't like to see humans suffering any more than you do. But sometimes I've had to suffer in life, and nobody could take that suffering away from me. It was just something I had to deal with in my own living. And it brought me to a certain place about who I am and what I am and where I am, and even showing me a little bit of my identity as a human being. You know, gifts taste better than anything else in the world. This was a real gift. Let me tell you something. Don't devalue anybody's experience by thinking that they're less than you or you're more than them. We're here in this life to develop a sense of awareness about who and what we are, and oftentimes we do it through pain and suffering. It's a very legitimate way, and when you and I judge it wrong, it's one of those I gotchas. I'm a warp sick man.
Just believe we can be everything.
I was thinking about all the people who have passed on in my life, who have made sudden life changes in my living. My mother and my father, who passed on when I was about 19 years old. I remember the day that John Kennedy was shot, Martin Luther King was shot, Bobby Kennedy, the day even that John Lennon died. And all of those people, the interesting thing is that life did not stop. Life goes on. And there is something to that. Life does not stop when tragedy occurs. There's something beautiful about the eternal part about life. It just moves on and on and on. It is not that it's progressive, it's eternal. And if we can catch that inside of ourselves, we'll see that every single person, every single event, and every single situation in life is there to help us. Believe it or not, it's not the end of your world when you have a problem or when some disaster has struck our life. It just means that life is a changing. And it's a changing the way it needs to change for someone like me or someone like you. I was devastated when my parents died. But you know when the devastation hit me? Years afterwards. I didn't even really know how devastated I was. Life goes on. And we have to stay in the flow of life. What a lot of us do is that we forget that we, in times of great hurt and pain, that our object is to go back into life and to stay with the flow of it and not to step out of it. And I'm not talking about the flow of society, but the flow of us as individuals, the flow of our heart, to stay with it. If I stay with the flow of my mind, I will always be confused, and I will have philosophical questions as to why people die and why people are homeless and why people do bad things and why people do good things. And I'll have some elaborate religion and philosophy. And that's what most people have, is just philosophy and religion. Political points of view as well. Very few people have a feel for life. The feel for life comes in staying with the problems that we have, the crises that we have, and feeling the message that's involved in every single situation, staying with our life no matter how difficult it may be. Life is not a problem to be solved. Life is a mystery to be lived. And it goes on through the Adolf Hitlers, the Charles Mansons, the popes, the presidents, and the Penns. Life goes on and on and on and on. And the beauty of it is that it's there, just as wonderful it is for me as a newborn baby, as it is for someone and maybe who is very elderly and dropping their body, leaving their body, just this very moment. Think of how many people this very moment are leaving their bodies for one reason or another, and how many people are coming into new bodies this very moment. Ah, life. Oh, Bla Dee, oh, Bla Dah. Life goes on. It just pumps on. Ours is not to analyze it and come up with books and theories and platitudes about why life is, and is there life after birth, is there life after death? Ours is to live it as a mystery, not to question it, but to be with it. I found out that most of my life, and I was a 60s child, you know, being raised in the times of the hippies and all that, we questioned everything. We weren't changing the world like we thought we were. We were living it from our heads. Some of us now are beginning to realize it has to go down and filter through to the heart, because life is lived from one place, from the heart. If it's not lived from the heart, it's not lived at all. We ignore life because we choose to live it from our intellect. And ignoring life is probably the greatest sin that there could ever be. Because when I ignore my life, I put myself in a position to anesthetize myself to the meaning of the things that are trying to happen to me. And believe it or not, life is trying to happen to me. Everybody has their purpose, their reason, and their place in this life. I used to look at people, I guess like everybody did, or does, where we look at people as useful, and people who are not useful, good people and bad people. It takes all kinds of people to make up this kind of planet so you and I can have this kind of experience. Sometimes the experiences aren't pleasant, are they? And sometimes we wonder, well, why is this happening? I hear people blame things on God, saying, well, why does God let something like this happen to me or to them or to the world? God does not guide and direct things like we'd like to think. God gave us life, and God said, do it. And here we are doing it. And probably the most beautiful aspect of God is that God gave us the free will to live our life the way we need to live it, to gain the experiences we need to gain, to make our life the way we need to make it, so we will either go deeper into our heart or further away from ourselves in our intellect and in our ego. Things like this happen, and you can't let things come between you and life. You've got to stay with things no matter how difficult it may be. Don't let anything separate you. Move with life. Be adaptable. Be able to move and bend and shake and turn, and above all, be compassionate. Because whatever another person's pain is, ours is not to fix it or to change it. Ours is to understand it and be compassionate about it and let people have their experience they need for the insight that they have, for the life that they choose to live. And no matter how strange it may be to us, it's important to them. Again, it's one of those I gotcha things. Be right back.
I gotcha. All right.
know, the thing about being down here when you're around a lot of humanity is you really get the feeling of the compassion that is necessary for the human experience. I've often wondered what brings us to this planet, what brings a soul into a certain body to experience the things that it experiences, and how the life goes on with it. We experience certain things in life because that's who we need to be for now. It brings about an insight and a clarity. Some people have a real cushy life where not much is asked of them. They have kind of made their money or whatever it is, and it's eat, drink, and be merry time for them. And a lot of people are very self-righteous about the way they've lived their life, and there's an experience in that of great pain and suffering. And then there are the people who are the homeless, the hurt, the elderly, and they have their experience too. I think it's not important what you're doing with the outside of your life. It's important to have compassion for the things that are trying to happen with your life. Gosh, when you're with people and you're in the crowds, maybe you're in crowds of people where you're not totally familiar with the ways of the street, the way things are around you, you have to begin to feel something within you, a kind of a tingling. The tingling is that we're all the same. We do different things, we act different ways, but basically we're all the same. The life that lives within me, that lives within all these people, and vice versa, and how the life goes on. And if I'm making value judgments about them, I'm missing the plight of humanity. Compassion is the most necessary thing in the world. Compassion for the capacity of the human element. We live through our humanity to find our divinity. Some people have to be homeless. Some people have to be rich. Some people have to be crying, and some people have to be laughing. Some people have to be ill. Some people have to be well. Some people have to go through great pain and suffering. Other people don't go through as much. Everything is a part of life. And everything brings us closer, closer, closer to the human element and the human experience which we are seeking to understand and live out. Please don't try to solve your life. Try to live your life. It is a quality. We rip ourselves off when we think it's more important what we do and what we have and the kind of person that other people think we are than being true to who and what we really are. I try to help people as best I possibly can. I'm trying to help you through this television program as well as help myself. But I can't help you. You can't help me. We can only offer to each other the capacity of our understanding, our forgiveness. And then from there, I'll do with it what I will, and you will do with it what you will. And maybe some change can happen in our life. Maybe we'll realize where we are and who we are. The plight of humanity. It's an interesting one. And we miss so much of our life because we don't have a sense of humor. We don't play with it enough. I don't take much too seriously anymore. Because when I start taking things too seriously, I start thinking I'm more important than what I am. And I found out that the experiences that we are going through are not half as important as the person who's inside that being or that body trying to have that experience. I was in class recently. We were talking about how we could more effectively live our experience. One of the things that came up was that you have to have a deep sense of humor. Be able to laugh at things that you couldn't laugh at before. A few of the people in the class moaned about that because they're finding out that they are accepting too much of themselves on the serious level. Life is a cosmic joke, and I am the punchline. So are you. And if we begin to kind of play with it from that point of view, then we begin to see that the compassion for the human plight, no matter who we are, old or young, rich or poor, homeless or homed, there's always something to be learned and gained out of life. I like the Beatles. Oh, Bla Dee, oh, Bla Dah. See, I did it, guys. Oh. See, if I start singing on TV, I'll have this whole new career and I won't be able to handle it with all the concerts, the money, and all the stuff that will be coming to me. So one last little idea here. Try to live your life just the way it is, enjoying everything. Nah. Isn't that great? He's so relaxed he can lay up there and do that. Wonder what your judgment was. Did you have one? Did you think, what's he doing sitting up there sleeping? Must be a bum. Or did you just look at it and say, he was tired. That's where he needs to rest for now. Wouldn't it be great if we could drop our judgments of each other like that and just kind of enjoy the human experience, play with it and make fun of it, and also realize that in it, while there is pain and suffering, there's a lot to be learned and a lot to be gained. It's all trying to get us back to our heart. Gotcha. Oh, Bla Dee. Life goes on. Yeah! La, 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 life goes on. I gotcha! I'm grateful you chose to be with us again on this edition of Aspire. We've been looking at the human experience and the elements of it that are so very important. Please remember this week as you go out, everybody's doing the thing that they need to do that makes their life meaningful. We all are actors and actresses playing roles with each other in a dance called life. If we are not compassionate for the plight of the human experience and the hurt of the human experience, we will never find the compassion that is necessary to live a life with ourselves as well as with each other. People talk about the ecology and how concerned they are about the earth and its ecology. Well, a part of that ecology is our relationships with each other. And our relationships are based on the level of compassion that we have for each other's pain and suffering, as well as happiness and joy. Jealousy, anger, fear, resentment, these are all a part of the human experience. And while sometimes they take some really odd forms in life, they're very important and legitimate forms in getting us down, down, down to our feelings. Life is not lived from the things that we do or the things that we have. Life is lived from the feelings that we have within ourselves. And all of this experience and the human plight of life brings us to those feelings. They need to be honored. Don't feel sorry for people who you think are suffering or who you think are not living up to their potential. Everybody's living their life as they need to live it, no matter how painful it may be, or how successful it may be, or how bad it may be, or how good it may be. It makes sense to them. It is their experience. Ours is to give them that experience without criticism, without anger, and without hostility, both to the people that we know around us and our family members and our friends. Everybody has the right to live their life the way they are. We're going to continue in our series again next week. Thanks for being with us. I gotcha. Namaste.